Greetings, everybody. This is Leviathan here, and today we've got a little bit of a surprise. It's a PTR for Diablo 3 for patch 2.6.6, which looks like it will coordinate to be the next patch for Season 18. We've gotten a few patches in the past, PTRs and stuff, and they've been these kind of surprisingly solid patches of updates to the game where, a lot of us have thought at this point, not too much life left in D3, there's not going to be a lot of updates, but this one just came out of the woodwork. Today we're going to go over the patch notes here. I've actually just logged into PTR. It is live, it's available for testing. As you can see here, it is a 1-week PTR to test Season 18, so guessing that means that by a week from today, which I'm recording this video on Thursday, this will be done. So make sure you get in here and try things out if you're really interested in seeing what the future of the Season 18 will be. Alright, so got the details here. It starts today, like we said, July 25th, 2.6.6 PTR. There's going to be 2 buffs active. Increased legendary drop rate and double blood shard drops, so this is just to kind of help speed up testing and things like that, help everyone get the new items and supplemental items. There's feedback and bug reports on the forums, so if you run into anything that is problematic or there's something that you think just doesn't work or should change, you should definitely make sure to get your voice heard, especially with such a short time frame. It will be basically the only way for them to make any kind of quick reactive changes. Gotta make sure they know what the heck's going on. As far as the goals of what they want from us for the PTR seasonal testing, basically there's a new game-impacting seasonal buff, which we'll get to in just a second, and some boost to legendary items. They want people to push greater rifts as high as possible with the new item changes, experiment with the Triune's Will seasonal buff. Probably asking yourself, what the heck is the Triune's Will? We're going to get to that. As far as the other stuff, is what they always tell us, if you're really good at Wizard, play a lot of Wizard, make sure you figure out what you like, what you don't like, let them get feedback, stock up on stuff, etc., etc. But here's the juice. Alright, so the changes in 2.6.6. A pet has been added that will be available for players who pre-purchase Warcraft 3 Reforged. They usually do a lot of cross-promotional stuff whenever you get one of the other games, or like a deluxe version of one of the other games and things like that. So this is just particularly for Warcraft 3 Reforged. Season 18. So the Season 18 theme is the Season of the Triune, and the buff/power that will be active all season long is Triune's Will. All abilities have a chance when hitting an enemy to spawn a circle that gives a power. Only one circle can be active at a time. 3 powers are the Power Circle, which is players in the circle receive a 100% damage bonus while active. A Resource Reduction Circle, where players in the circle receive a 50% discount on resources spent while active. And then the Cooldown Reduction Circle. While standing in an active circle, any skills currently on cooldown come off of cooldown more quickly. So you basically have a power one, a resource cost reduction one, and a cooldown reduction one. And it's random, and there can only be one circle active at a time. The last couple of seasonal buffs have been focused primarily on endgame content. We wanted to try something different this season with a buff that was more beneficial to players, regardless of where they might be in their seasonal journey. So Triune's Will come into play as early as level 1, and continue to make an impact on your game experience from the beginning to the end of the season. Looking forward to seeing how players leverage this ever-changing boost throughout their adventures. This is definitely something I'm going to want to try before I pass any real judgment on it. It seems like it has some potential to be pretty cool. Obviously, some of these things are going to benefit some builds more than others. If your build doesn't spend any resources and you really don't want to see any of the resource cost reduction circles, a power one seems like it's going to be pretty good, especially if it shows up at the right time and you're trying to kill, Greater Rift Guardian, and it's got ads and stuff. Guess that means, oh, actually no, it's based off attacks, not kills. So yeah, this will be really interesting. We have to see how it operates with Oculus rings and things like that too. Definitely should be interesting. And like we've been saying in the past, definitely a theme that is not just a legendary power or a ring power or whatever. Something that they're actually trying to innovate. So definitely applauding that effort. I'm excited to see what this will do. We have a few items here now. Developer notes on this is that there are additional specific notes below, but broadly 2.6.6 they wanted to introduce a handful of new item powers that target two audiences: certain classes with long-standing requests for balance and quality of life, and then the broader player base for experimenting with the cube. This means that there will be fewer class-specific additions, but more that everyone has an opportunity to play with. They also experimented with some of the craftable sets from Rig to make those more appealing for a fresh level 70 or some players that are looking to maximize farming. We hope to see interesting new theory crafting and tactics out of 2.6.6. Can't wait to see what the community does with this new loot. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of just your generic legendaries, your regular legendaries that now have new powers and stuff. So we'll be able to cube some new powers, we'll be able to mess with some different things. So, flavor of time, new legendary power pylon effects last twice as long. Again, remember, this is PTR, right? So some of these things will not make it out of PTR, but holy crap, this one seems really strong. This pylons, by the way, not shrines, pylons, which is power pylon, conduit, like, you know, just imagine a minute of conduit or like 2 minutes of speed. I don't know. This one, we're gonna have to test the crap out of that. Executioner has a new power. Attacks will slay enemies with less than 5 to 10% health. So kind of like frailty, everyone will be able to get access to. And, you know, this is an amulet, this is a weapon, so this is going to be, you have to think about like what you would actually replace in your build. Either, because I feel like a lot of these you're going to be cubing the power, and are you willing to give up, you know, whatever your build currently cubes to get something like this. So that'll be interesting. This probably be like something on a support, you know, they might cube Executioner and get the frailty effect. Stone gauntlets. Getting attacked will slowly turn you to stone. You gain 50% more armor, but your movement speed is reduced by 15% and attack speed is reduced by 20%. This effect stacks up to 5 times. Huh. So just to get more armor, you basically will want this for builds that I guess just kind of stand there. Having the attack speed reduction is kind of interesting. I don't know about that. I don't know where this one would fit exactly. We'll have to see. Echoing Fury, slaying enemies engulfs the wielder into a frenzy, so killing enemies increases your attack speed by 15% and movement speed by 5%, and this can stack 5 times. So that's 75 and 25% at the max for attack speed, movement speed. That's pretty cool. This seems like a speed farming power, which is where a lot of these powers will probably find a home in some form or fashion, because you'll be able to more easily change a lot of the slots in the cube and things like that. For speed farming, like it feels like a lot of the GR builds are kind of set, and again we'll see because obviously you have to experiment, but this seems really good for speed farm. It's more movement speed, more attack speed, and it procs off killing stuff. Squirt's necklace, while not taking damage, your damage is increased by up to 100% and damage taken is increased by up to 50%. Wait, what? While not taking damage, your damage is increased by up to 100% and damage taken is increased by up to 50%. So this is crazy. So that means like you're not taking damage, and then you can also essentially, I guess you're just trying. This is something where you're just trying to make sure you don't take damage, and if you don't, then you're gonna get a ton of damage increase. But also the next time you get hit, you're gonna get like smoked. So I guess builds that like, you know, multi-shot or something when you're standing far away, you know, and you don't get hit usually. That might work. Interesting. Alright. Messersmith's Reverse, another weapon. Reduce the remaining cooldown of one of your skills by 1 second when you slay an enemy. Okay. There's like a Witch Doctor passive, I think it's called Gruesome Feast or something, that's kind of similar, I believe. So that's that power basically. Look at this, Mortix Brace. For those of you who are new to the community, you won't even understand what seeing those 2 words on patch notes even means. Mortix Brace was an item that used to be in the game. It was on a PTR at one point, and it was tested out. It gives you every rune of Wrath of the Berserker. And back when it was first introduced, it was thought to be like way too powerful because, you know, Barbs is just like crushing it. And actually, this even made it onto console. There were a few players that I think for like a few hours were able to get Mortix Brace before they removed it from the drop pool. They have a mention here. If you play during patch 2.2 PTR, you'll recognize this as an item that was later removed from the game before it went to live servers. At the time, Mordek's Brace gave too much power for a single item slot, however, the power curve of D3 has changed significantly since then, and we're comfortable with bringing it back. Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy. Mordek's Brace, they finally made it back into the game, guys. Celebrate. Barb's Rejoice is actually a really strong item, so it'll be interesting because Barbs have decent bracers, like Bracers of the First Men and stuff. So that slot is now contested, but I guess this would be your cube item for sure at the armor slot. Wow. It's back. They did it. Alright, next up, Spite. This item can be crafted from the blacksmith and is not a normal loot drop. Non-cleaving gargantuans gain the cleave and chilling effects of the humongoid rune. Interesting. So this is just a new power for witch doctors. We'll have to see how they enjoy that. Sounds pretty strong, I guess. Legacy of Dreams. It's a new legendary gem. I think a lot of you guys that like this current season will like this gem. Well, you have no set bonuses equipped. Every legendary item you have equipped increases your damage dealt by 3.75% and reduces your max damage taken by 2%. It's a max level of 99. Rank 25, this bonus is doubled for ancient items. So this is basically Legacy of Nightmares without needing to wear Legacy of Nightmares. Which is exactly what we're dealing with in 3.75 at the moment. So, and then, you know, this is, well, I think people will be happy for this, as they seem to enjoy, you know, the current season with Legacy of Nightmares. And some developer notes here: the endgame opened up significantly with Season 17's Legacy of Nightmare buff. The community was clear about how much these new options were appreciated. They wanted to make this addition a more permanent fixture, in a more streamlined way than just making it baseline. So the gem should open up that path even further and have more opportunities for besides just late game Great Rift pushing. Cool beans. And like they had mentioned previously, they did make some changes to the crafted sets. The following sets have been significantly revised from their existing level 70 counterparts. The items that were crafted prior to 2.6.6 will continue to exist in their old form, but they will not be updated after the patch. So you're going to have to craft these things again to get the new versions. In addition, the old recipes will no longer be available to craft, and all players will need to reacquire the recipes by finding plans through Heraldric caches or by killing odious collectors. So there you go. We're going to have to get new plans. All the old sets that you can craft through Hadrig will update. Definitely things to keep in mind, important to know. So the Sage's Journey Sage set, the one that gives you double Death's Breaths now, has had a belt added to it, which is pretty exciting. So that actually means that Necromancers can now use this, right? Because they were the ones in particular that all their sets overlap with Sage, so they weren't able to, you know, do like a regular set plus Sage or whatever. The blacksmith now automatically learns how to forge this at rank 12. So no, as long as you get your blacksmith leveled up all the way, you don't have to worry about it. Am I going to find the sage plan? Do I have the sage plan? Is there a sage plan? That's pretty good. It'll be interesting. Captain Crimson's Trimmings, 2-set bonus, regenerates 6,000 life per second, reduce cooldown of all skills by 20%. Now also reduces a resource cost by 20%. And then on the 3-set bonus, we now have damage dealt is increased by your total percent of cooldown reduction, and damage taken is reduced by your total percent of resource cost reduction. Huh. That's interesting. I still feel like this is probably going to fall into some kind of like support set. Unless you can find a way, there are some builds that are pretty CDR hungry. But I don't know. I think this is still probably a little bit niche, a little bit of a limited use. I guess we'll see. Augild's Authority, however we're pronouncing this now. 2-set bonus. Now the set bonus has been replaced. It reduces damage taken by 15% and increases damage dealt by 30%. So just straight damage reduction, damage increase. Then 3-set bonus, reduce damage from elites by 30%. And increase damage against elites by 30%. Oh man, there were a few builds back in the day that used to fit in this set. It does seem like it actually would be pretty strong, just in terms of like the damage reduction, damage dealt. I'm like struggling to figure where it would fall into certain builds, but again, we'll have to experiment and see. Can't think about it at the moment. Kane's Destiny, last set here. Set bonus, attack speed increased by 8% on the 2 set bonus, and plus 50% experience, 5% at level 70, and this was moved from the 3 set bonus, so you only need 2 set to get the big experience bonus. Now the 3 set bonus is when a Greater Rift Keystone drops, it's a 25% chance for an extra one to drop. So now if you want to focus on farming primarily just your Greater Rift Keystones, you've got a set to do that in. A little bit of attack speed. Yeah, so cool. And that's actually looks like that's it. Just a couple bug fixes as well. Fixed an error that occurred when reporting a player via friend request, and fixed an error that occurred when saving an existing friend note without making changes. So wow, guys, this is some pretty interesting changes. They're finally putting a lot of powers on legendaries that didn't have powers. They've revamped a lot of the crafted sets. The seasonal theme, that Triune's Will with the 3 different powers, power, resource cost reduction, and cooldown reduction. Those are your general overviews of what's happening in 2.6.6. I'm going to put the link to these patch notes in the video description so you can look over it yourself. And I'll also go in and do some testing myself in the PTR and see kind of what we make of things. And I'll probably try to stream a bit of it too. So feel free, right above me, to check out the stream. It's twitch.tv/Leviathan111. Get busy and see what's going on. We got a week to test it, so hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments anything you found particularly interesting here, any initial builds or cool things that you see will make a big difference, and let's figure it out. Let's get in there and break things. Until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Adios for now.